Dreams do come true. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I believe dreams definitely do come true. I was born in Port Jervis, New York, as was my father. And after my parents met and married, my mom moved to Port Jervis from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My mother's mother, my grandmother, was a very strong force. She, along with a group of Jewish women in Philadelphia after World War II, brought surviving French female orphans to Philadelphia for adoption. So this is a picture. That was my grandmother on the left, my mom on the right, little me in the middle. I was about 4. This is a picture of my brothers and I. We had so much sibling rivalry. And living in Port Jervis at the time was a population of 9,000, where Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey meet. It was very tough at times. It was a very small community with plenty of anti-Semitism. In my graduating class of 220 students, 13 of us were Jewish. At the age of 10, I had dreams of having this recreation center in Port Jervis for kids to hang out. And I knew at that point, I definitely wanted to be a school teacher. But this is crazy. At the age of 11 and a half, while being in 6th grade, I received encephalitis. At the time, I was taking horseback riding lessons in Greenville, New York. And due to an insect bite, I almost died while being in a coma. The coma began right here at Temple Bethel in Port Jervis, New York. When opening my eyes 10 hours later, I looked straight ahead and I saw a cross on the wall. I felt like I was Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz coming out of this dream. And straight ahead was a religious cross, but to the right was the rabbi and to the left was my parents. So what I learned is I had encephalitis. And encephalitis is an inflammation of the brain. It's often due to infection. The infection may be bacterial or viral. And in some cases, encephalitis may be the result of immune system disorder. It's very rare. It spreads by animals or insects. And the encephalitis caused epilepsy, which I lived with for almost 25 years, averaging 18 seizures a month. And at one point, I was taking 32 pills a day. The seizures were never controlled. My seizures varied by medication, grand mals, petty seizures, focal seizures, and psychomotor seizures. And now I'm in a position where I'm getting rejected by my classmates for, like their own parents. They knew very little about seizures, and I'm sure they were quite frightened by what they saw. Nonetheless, I had to learn how to cope with rejection, and I always prayed for good health. So here was a picture from my younger brother's bar mitzvah in Port Jervis, New York. My older brother is to the left, my younger brother in the middle, my mom and dad. I have to say, it's very sad, but my older brother passed away when he was 38 from a massive heart attack. I read, because of living with epilepsy and, being rejected, I read How to Be Your Own Best Friend, which helped me to have a positive image of myself and also not to rely on others. I knew that I had to stand for myself. So I attended and graduated from 2 universities in the Boston area. And when I was attending the second college, I was teaching 4th grade in Arlington, Massachusetts. And since I walked out of the classroom due to a seizure, the college wanted me to leave and reapply in 2 years. I fought with them because, when I applied to the university, I told them I had epilepsy. They said, no problem. And now I walk out of a classroom due to a seizure, and I turned to him and I said, no way. I took graduate courses in counseling, and then later, instead of graduating in June 1st of that year, I graduated 2 months later in August. I have to tell you, I was so lost. None of my dreams were happening. So after graduation, I worked in a nursing home in Milford, Pennsylvania, and then I moved to New York City. When beginning my career in New York City, I resided at the Barbizon Hotel for Women and worked a lingerie company called Movie Star Incorporated. It was a great employer. Every time I had a seizure, they would wheel me down the hall to the cafeteria on my office chair. And when I came out of the seizure, I immediately went back to work. So in 1984, I married and supported my husband for him to begin a business, even though I was making $15,000 a year. And we normally ate lots of tuna fish, peanut butter, and eggs. What a great diet. So this was the killer. I was in the jewelry department at Lord & Taylor's on Fifth Avenue. And it's really embarrassing. It's a really embarrassing situation to be arrested, but I couldn't utter a word of protest to the New York cop who twisted my arms behind my back to handcuff me. A crowd was staring at me in the aisle where I had a grand mal, and the cops roped me off when I was unconscious. So as my conscience returned after the grand mal epileptic seizure, I wanted to leave and began running through the store onto Fifth Avenue right outside of Lord & Taylor's. I could not speak and I could not understand why they were trying to prevent me from leaving. I could not comprehend why they would handcuff me with my arms behind my back. I felt like a thief. I was only looking at watches to purchase for my husband. They forcibly took me to the squad car waiting at the store's entrance on Fifth Avenue and ferried me off to a hospital. This was just one of the many grand mals that I experienced. When I arrived at the emergency room at the hospital, the personnel told the cops I had a grand mal, I couldn't speak, and that I really wanted to leave. The nurse told the New York City police to unhandcuff me and let me go. At the time of this happening, my ex-husband could not deal with these grand mals. Life was very challenging, but again, I always had this positive attitude and tried so hard not to think negatively because, believe it or not, it could just cause another seizure. So now I'm going through this divorce and I lost my job due to being on mycelium and Tegretol through a doctor at Columbia University. He recommended it. So I would go to work, but was in a complete daze until noon. When the medicine began wearing off, then I was not able to answer the phone since I was so drugged up. So around noontime every day, then I was able to answer the phone. So I was being tested to see if my epilepsy was operable. Here I was in my mid-20s. I had a left temporal lobectomy. And since then, believe it or not, I've been seizure-free. Occasionally I get an aura, but no seizures. So I went from being a patient to becoming a patient advocate. Since the brain surgery, my drive in life has always been to help others. After the surgery, I worked for 2 insurance companies. That was my experience being a sick patient for almost 25 years. Both of the insurance companies within 2 weeks of employment taught me how to deny claims. So here, my life went 360 degrees. I first wanted to be a teacher, thinking about a recreation center for others. And then I was sick for 25 years of my life. And then becoming healthy and now being hired to deny claims. I worked in claims and underwriting and learned all the tricks of the trade of the insurance companies. My view on this will always be, why should they be on the New York Stock Exchange or the US Stock Exchange? Who are they? They're the stockholders who are making decisions on our lives. So after working for 2 insurance companies, I adopted 2 infant children at different times in Vietnam. And I continued to keep my insurance licenses, working for a doctor, learning how to submit medical claims, opened up a medical billing business. And over 11 years ago, I opened up an advocacy business. I teach and lecture on what to do when a claim is denied or if it's out of network, overcharged, getting nowhere with their insurance company. And I help people all the time with pre-authorizations. 6 years ago, my book was published and endorsed by Ralph Nader, Solved Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems. Ralph Nader liked it so much he won international edition, multi-payer medicine nightmare, made in the USA. About 12 years ago, after graduating leadership honors, I opened up a YMCA in Monroe, New York, and it all began at my home after serving dinner to well-known people in the Monroe area, which included legislators, lawyers, friends, and companies that have successful businesses in Monroe. So now my dream having a YMCA finally came into existence. I now understand and believe I am a visionary. This is my little box where I put all my dreams. And if you're positive and you believe your dreams are going to come true, aim and believe for that success, and it will happen. It definitely worked for me. This is the front cover of my next book, Apparently Different. I was rejected due to fear of others. Most people with a condition or illness are rejected by society, and it's all due to fear. Others do not know how to respond. They don't know how to respond to a seizure. They don't know how to respond to an autistic person who's screaming, someone who's deaf, blind, in a wheelchair, a person with a severe brain injury. I have to tell you, I do love master networks, and dreams really do come true. Despite what the fairy tales depict, happiness doesn't appear by magic. It's never even something that happens to you. It's something that you can cultivate. The people who are really happy, they seem to really know that their happiness is the sum of life choices. And their lives are built on the following pillars: gratitude, optimism, and finding your life's purpose. Thank you.
Adria, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am guessing that there are people that want to ask you questions. What do you think, guys?
Gene, I'm sorry, I cannot. It's not a question, and I know you didn't say recognition or.
That's okay. Go for it.
Adria, you hit a grand slam, not a home run today. That was incredible. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Avi. Thank you.
Stephanie, I saw your hands up.
Adria, I just want you to know that you're an inspiration to every single human being in this room right now. That was an incredible story of your life, and sharing that, I'm going to cry right now. So I just want to thank you, because that was so very impactful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen.
Adria, for all the years I know you, I've known you for many, you continue to impress. That was extremely heartfelt and very personal, and speaks volumes of your character. It really does. So well done. Very, very well done.
Thank you.
Willie, what you got to say?
I heard that.
Yeah, Adria, having an insurance background and knowing that you're a quarterback now for the consumer, what type of challenges have you encountered in your role?
Oh my God, my heart goes out to everybody. And this morning, we were, on the one-to-one, I was mentioning, there are people out there who can't afford my services. And that's why I wrote my book, Solve Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems. The next book is really about respect to others who have a condition. But people call me on the weekends, and I will spend a little bit of time with them, and I'll give them the steps to take, and they can continue calling me and tell me where they're at. Because I can't volunteer all my time that often. I try, but that's what I do to give back. I mean, people have been so good to me, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing, Adria. Rob, and then close it out.
Yeah, just absolutely unbelievable story, Adria. But I do have a question. A lot of people, when faced with challenges in life, sometimes smaller challenges, obviously, than you've been through, they'll just kind of withdraw and they won't fight anymore. What kept you going and fighting and overcoming through like these horrific circumstances to obviously being a very successful businesswoman and advocate?
I pray a lot. And I always think, I think in my mind to be positive. I mean, something just happened recently and I kicked myself in the butt and I said, you got to be positive. Don't let this get to you. And that's like the most important thing. And that's why, look, even the next book that I'm getting out, I have another book after that. I want to teach third graders what not to be scared of these people around them, because that's more respect for people who have a condition, and there's so many people out there where there is no cure, but as long as you have a positive image, it's going to help you get through this. Look, even after the brain surgery, I had cancer. But I had a positive attitude thinking, this is a piece of cake for me. I'm not standing in New York City coming out of a grand mal with my arms around the pole. It's all easy afterwards.
Wow, Adria, that's amazing. Thank you so much.